Welcome to Talking Grit, a Detroit Lions podcast. Talking Grit is brought to you by the Monroe County Reporters, Monroe's top news source for police, fire, and community events.
Post 3 and Depot Street. Truck 48
Follow them on Facebook, and for $2.99 a month, you can become a subscriber and get the news you crave even faster.
Welcome back to another episode of Fighting Recaps here on Talking Grit. I'm Jason Harwood, and Jacob Litton is here also. We are so glad to have you here listen to our recap of Sunday's 52-14 blowout win over those Tennessee Titans. We want to thank everybody for listening. Jacob and I would really like to hear from you. We want to know what you like that we're doing. What could we improve on? That's a big part of us growing as a podcast and as a YouTube channel is what are we doing that we could do better? If you want to click and respond to that, you can go to our YouTube channel. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, there's send us a text message. Send us that. We'd give you a shout out on the show. Hopefully we can hear some positive feedback. That'd be great. So Jacob, I know you're not feeling well. I'm going to get going on here. What is your major takeaway from the game yesterday? What did you think?
Yeah, the major takeaway that I have is just, we played a complete game. Everybody had a hand in this one. Offense, defense, special teams. That's what culminated in the huge victory over the Titans. Obviously, they're a struggling team right now. Most of their players are on the trade block and everything. But, beating any NFL team like that means that your team was well prepared and that you executed your game plan. And that's what we did in the game. Our offense is averaging 43 points per game in the last 4 weeks. So we're playing some good football right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Some might have characterized this as a trap game in between two tough road division games. Lions are going to have to face the way the Titans came in with a 1-6 or 1-5 record. They're 1-6 now. You could easily say the Lions could have just looked past this game. Well, they didn't. 52-14, like you said, complete game. And really, the special teams were the standout in this game. It was just unreal to see live. I could tell you that. It was super exciting.
Yeah, special teams was definitely the difference maker in this one for us.
Yeah.
Able to flip the field consistently and, made everybody else's job a lot easier.
It sure did. Yeah, and it made the offense look not as efficient because they didn't get very many yards in this one because the special teams just put them in such a good spot in the field each time.
Yeah, the drives where we were starting further away, it was like they couldn't get anything going for the most part. And then, the drives when we're starting inside on their half the field already, we're just taking it right to them every time.
Yeah, which is nice. They didn't settle for field goals, any of those short fields. They were able to punch it in 5 for 5 in the red zone. We'll get that when we get to the offense. The stats this is one of those games that the hidden stats, like special teams, really tell the tape. If you look at the offense or whatever, it doesn't look all that impressive. Other than Jameer Gibbs, who had a really nice statistical game, and a real nice game just in general. If I'd have told you before the game, Jared Goff throws for less than 100 yards, and we won, you'd be like, yes, oh my God, we dodged a bullet. And then you'd look at the score and be like, what? How did we score 52? Jared Goff didn't get hurt, played the whole game, and yeah, never seen anything like that.
Really weird game.
There was much action that was going on in this game. When I was there, the loudest the crowd got was when they showed Hutch on the screen. People were just super happy to see him. I was super excited. My wife, who loves Hutch, they show Hutch on the screen. We're all cheering. I look over at my wife, and she's got the binoculars out, and I just assumed that she was looking, just whip him out to see if she could find Hutch, what suite he was in. Then, 2 minutes later, she looked at Preston, my son, and said, "What? Hutch was on the screen and I missed him?" She had missed the whole thing because she was actually looking on the sideline for Hutch to see if he was down there, and not knowing that he was up in
the crowd didn't give it away.
I don't know.
She just had that laser focus trying to find her man, huh?
the family dynamics when we watch the game um, are just so much fun because I know Preston, my oldest, is going to ask me. I start counting it because he's going to ask me, "Do you think we're going to win this game?" That's his nervous go-to. Is Dad? Do you think we're going to win this game? And it actually started on Saturday, the day before the game. He goes, "Dad, do you think we're going to win this game?" And I go, "That's one." And he goes, "One what?" And I go, "I'm counting how many times you ask me this." And then he asked me like maybe two more times during the game. On a typical game, it's literally like 25, 30 times. He will
All the way to
ask
the
me
end.
all the way to the end, the whole second half. It's, Dad, do you think we're going to win? And so I asked him, why do you do that? You know, why do you think that I know? He's like, well, Dad, you know so much about football. You've seen so much. You'd have a good read. For me, I know it's just, that's his nervous energy. Like that's how he wants some reassurance that the Lions are going to win. And so he does it a lot, but it's the family dynamics at a game are fun. I really, really glad we got season tickets to be able to experience it. It's been awesome.
Hey, being an old school Lions fan, though, you can't ever say that you're going to win the game.
Oh, I know.
Until it's over, there's no feeling good about it.
No, they're not. And that's why it's such a weird position. We've had two games where we've had Hen and Hooker in the fourth quarter, right? I mean, and it's not because we're down by so much. It's because we're playing so well that we can afford to get these guys reps, which, I think is going to play dividends in the future. It may not be this season. It's going to be sometime in the future that it's nice to get Rakestraw some real game reps right now because other than an injury, he's not going to see the field that much. He's getting plenty of practice time, but not in-game reps. So I think these are going to just prove valuable maybe towards the end of the year or next year when hopefully he's on the field because he's deserving it.
Right. Oh, yeah. Experience for sure.
Yep. So
Very valuable.
we always start these breakdowns and we go through, the different groups, and special teams usually gets the shortest end of the stick. Today that might not be the case because man, they brought the whooping stick and it was super exciting to see.
For sure. I mean, you were there at the game. Those are the most exciting plays seem to be these special teams plays when you flip it like that. And they did it several times.
Yeah, they did. Kalif had 190 return yards. Pretty insane. The touchdown return that he had was direct. I mean, like when I say directly at me, it's my corner of the end zone that he's running into, and he started on that side of the field, and I could see right down the line. I had a really good view for that punt return, and when I saw some of those lanes open up, I thought, oh man, he's going to have a really good return. And anything could happen when they get to the second wave. It's hard to see all that stuff to fully develop. But then when he gets past the second wave and you start looking left and you're like, there's no one that's going to catch him. And you just realize he housed this thing. And then you start looking for flags, right? You start looking in the back, like, do I see a flag? No flags. And it was, watching those plays develop, it's fun to just the crowd. When he misses the first guy, you get the initial wave. And then the second guy, it starts to get louder, and then it just starts to get louder and louder and louder. And then when he hits the end zone, it gets super loud in there, and it was just super exciting.
Yeah, awesome environment for sure.
Yep. So I said Kalif had 190 return yards. I looked it up today. It's actually number 5 all time for punt return yards in a game, but the record's 207. It was set in 1981. But it's actually not even the most Lions punt return in one game. Any idea who would? I don't know if you looked this up or not, Jacob. But any idea who has the record for the Lions?
It's hard to say with punts. Agnew, Eddie Drummond.
There you go. You just hit it. Eddie Drummond. It's actually 2004 when Eddie Drummond returned that. It was against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had 2 punt returns in that game, both for touchdowns.
Surprising that they'd kick it to him the second time after he already housed one like that.
55-yard and 83. I mean, but they did it with Kalif yesterday.
Yeah,
they kept punting it.
And after how bad their special teams was doing, you would have thought they'd just kick it out of bounds.
Yeah, I was surprised. And I think Kalif ended up fair catching one that I think he could have returned. So he probably had even a shot to get get the record on
Right.
this.
He did have a guy in his face when he fair caught that one, but
did.
he kind of overran him.
Mhm.
And then I think, he had probably a good 8-9 yard window before somebody was going to be there.
Yeah, the Titans'
Hard
special
to say.
teams were atrocious yesterday. I mean, really, really bad. Because not only did they allow, Raymond to get all those yards, Vildor had an awesome return that set up the offense too.
It was Dorsey, right?
Oh, Dorsey. Yep, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Dorsey for a kick. He was the kick return.
Yes.
We only had one kick return. Dorsey had it 72 yards. And that was right after the Titans had tied it. So, they still have momentum. They think that they have a chance. We're tied 14-14. Things are looking a little shaky. And then Dorsey takes it 72 yards right down there. And then, it just took the wind right out of them. And then that was Brock Wright scored that touchdown, like right after, like 2 plays or something after that. We just got the lead right back. And then obviously we never let up after that time.
No, I did not. And not to forget about Jake Bates. He had a 51-yard field goal and then 7 for 7 on extra points. So, not too bad of a day. Good fantasy day for him.
Right.
And he only had 1 field goal because he had so many touchdown extra points that he kicked. So it's banner day.
I mean, he's still doing everything that we're asking of him, hitting every field goal we need.
Exactly. And, special teams coach Dave Phipps got the game ball for the game too. Well deserved. I don't know if you ever watched those coordinator press conferences, but Phipps are always the most fun to watch. He is high energy and he always has good stories. I really like listening to him talk.
I haven't seen those.
Yeah. Yeah, he just talks on Thursdays. Usually it'll be Phip, Ben Johnson, and AG will usually speak, and they'll do them in different orders. But Phipps always got something interesting to say, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say this week. So there'll be a lot of questions about, them setting it up. I mean, Kalif's had a couple in previous games that he was really close on. I think there was one in the Arizona game that he was pretty close to taking to the house, but it happened, and boy, did it come in bunches. And Jack Fox, 5 punts, 305 yards. He averaged 61 yards a punt. That is crazy. I mean, I think his first punt was 66, and when you're in the stadium, that thing just hung forever, and it's like, oh my God. And the coverage units on those are really, really good, because sometimes you could have a really long punt, but you're kicking them so you don't get the hang time, and then they get a good long window to return. But the Lions' return coverage unit is spectacular. Even if they had time to run, the gunner would come down and just take the right angle to push them right into the coverage, and they were not getting hardly any return yardage at all, which is, what you want to do. You want to set, if our offense is going to score or get down, we can at least turn the field position over and not, make them go a long way down the field. And with an offense like the Titans have, making them go a long way, is going to be tough for them.
Definitely. Yeah, he had 5 punts, 3 of them land inside the 20, longest being 67 yards. Just anytime our punt team's out there, Jack Fox does a great job of flipping the field. I don't even I can't even remember him having a bad punt. Sometimes it just happens where it's like, man, that one didn't get off very good, or, there's a big return or something like that. Just in recent memory, I don't recall that ever happened. Seems like every time he's out there, it's a clean, knock on wood, clean, and it's flipping the field, and then they got a long way to go.
Yep. And then with our way our defense is playing, it's definitely playing better this year than it has in years past. It makes Jack Fox a bigger weapon because we're not afraid to punt it. And then if our offense, just gets 1 or 2 first downs, we're flipping the field totally. And we're, like you said, we're pinning them inside the 20. Their offense has to go long way down the field. But it also gives our defense a chance to get more turnovers like they did yesterday.
Definitely.
4 turnovers, man. That they are on some kind of roll with turnovers.
I mean, I think it was after the third one, you text me, you're like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't even move the ball. And then as soon as they start to punching the ball out, just awesome defensive performance. Started a little shaky. I'm not going to lie. Was not happy with the defense in the first quarter. As the game went on, I don't know if it was the Titans just playing a little bit softer or just knowing how far they were down, how much they had to make up for. But, not putting pressure on Mason Rudolph in the first half was a very big mistake. And, we blitzed him the first drive. I think Levi's the one that hits him.
Yep.
I don't know, was it the first play or maybe second play? But, Levi hits him. He's got to rush it, and then Trevor Nowaski picks him off.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, this is great. This is exactly how this should go. And then really, the whole rest of the first quarter, we were only rushing 4. We're dropping everybody in coverage. We're rushing 4, and he just had too much time to throw. And, Calvin Ridley was tearing us up in that first quarter.
Oh, my God, yes. Yeah, I don't know. He was over 100 yards in the first quarter. He ended up with 143 for the game, but he definitely slowed way down after the first quarter because I think Justin Rogers tweeted something like he's on pace for 446 yards and 4 touchdowns or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was their option to go to on offense for passing. They had just traded DeAndre Hopkins, and Ridley's going to be the guy now for the rest of the season unless he gets traded too. But he's most likely going to be the guy for the rest of the season. So his stats are going to definitely go up. You fantasy guys out there, Calvin Ridley's probably, going to be a start for the rest of the year because that's where the offense is going to move through him.
Well, if you're going to be playing man coverage on him and we're dropping other people off, he was just beating us. Even the quick slants, everything was there. That one catch he had over Branch, you can't really have tighter coverage than what Brian Branch had on him. He just arm's length away, and then he still was able to jump up and get the ball. Yep. He had the 2 scoring drives, Calvin Ridley, 5 catches, 105 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That was the difference maker. The second scoring drive, I think they ran the ball once. Every other play was a pass. We weren't blitzing, and then he just had all day.
Yeah, I think the Lions expected them to run more. They were really trying to get to the perimeter of our defense. That's where we're probably the weakest on runs is the perimeter, and they were trying to get around there. Had some success, but it's hard to really tell because the game turned into such a blowout that they basically just had to pass for the whole second half until they decided to give up and the game was over. But yeah, I think the turnovers on defense are what's going to be is the biggest difference this year. We're getting interceptions. Our safeties are playing. They're both playing probably at all pro level right now.
Yes.
That is just giving everybody confidence. And I hope it doesn't deter Brad Holmes from making a deal for someone in line, an extra edge person, whether it's a big name or just someone that can help create pressure. I hope that it doesn't deter him because our coverage has been great. And I tell you, Kirby is hitting a new level this year. He's always been a ball hawk. His coverage skills has impressed. I'm actually more impressed with him coming up in the run game, delivering hits. He seems to be more active in that this year. In the interview the other day after the game, he talked about he wants to punch out the ball. Meek had 2 punch outs. Branch is very good at punching the ball out. Joseph is tired of getting interceptions now. He wants to get a punch out. That's the new thing for this defense, is to get punch outs. It looks pretty cool though, because you just like hauling off and punching the ball and you get that ball out. And I'm super impressed with Kirby. And then Brian Branch is Brian Branch. He didn't get a turnover this game, but he plays well all over the field. We're lucky to have those 2 safeties. In fact, I don't know if you looked, but they are the number 1 and number 2 graded safeties on PFF right now. Number 1 and number 2. Branch is 1. I think Kirby's number 2.
I didn't see that, but I believe that. That's what the way they've been playing. Like you said, just all pro level.
Yeah,
we've been very lucky to have them both on here playing it the way that they have.
Yes. Jack Campbell, I thought has been playing. He's steadily getting improving. He's up to now the 12th linebacker on PFF grade, so he's moving way up the list. It's a good thing because with us losing Hutch, a lot of the pressure is going to fall on the linebackers for the rest of the year. Unless we get some significant edge help, we're going to have to be blitzing with them. A lot's going to fall on the linebackers' plate, which, if we'd had Derek Barnes, that would be easier to swallow. But, when Malcolm got hurt this game, it doesn't sound like he's going to be able to play in the Packers game. That sucks. But it doesn't sound like it's a long-term injury. He avoided a high ankle sprain. It is an ankle injury, like a pre-existing ankle injury. I think he tweaked, but he had avoided the high ankle sprain, which is important.
Definitely. Yeah. That was in the first quarter, I think, when he got carted off. So a little concerning right when that happened. But I mean,
Yeah,
so far, next man up's been working for us. I mean,
it has.
you got to play with what you have, and we've got a good, solid roster.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Barnes is out, and so we have Trevor Nowaski in, and he's played really, really well. I mean, he's shown up on the stat sheet. I mean, he's making game-changing plays. He had an interception, Hail Mary. He got the sack on that last play versus the Vikings. So it's, you know, next man up is important. It's not just words. It's not just a saying. I think they truly believe it, and they don't expect. Dan Campbell said we don't expect drop off in play. We expect them to come in. I mean, I don't know how you could say that with Hutch because Hutch is all world. He's still the number one rated defensive edge in PFF, and he's sorely missed. I can't imagine what this
Absolutely.
game would have looked like had Hutch played. Oh my God,
Right. Oh, man.
it's hard not seeing Hutch out there, but the rest of the defense is playing really good. Aleem is up to the 5th ranked defensive lineman right now too on PFF. So we've got some you know really good players on defense. I'm encouraged.
Hey, they're getting the job done.
They are. They are. We're actually number 1 rated defense on PFF too. That's
Oh, all right.
we're our offense. When we get to that, our offense is the 4th rated on PFF, which is insane to me. But our defense is number 1 rated. Our rush rate was insane. I'm sure that's going to drop. The more games we play without Hutch. But yeah, I mean, all phases of the game where our run defense has been good. I don't think our run defense has been as good as last year, but our coverage is night and day versus last year. Terrion Arnold didn't have his best game. Being number one on Calvin Ridley, kind of got caught not playing the ball a couple of times. The penalties aren't there, which is good, but
Right.
he's got some room to prove, that's for sure.
He got beat on that touchdown, that kind of quick slant, but those are hard to cover. I mean, as he gets more experience and everything like that, then hopefully be able to stop those a little bit more consistently. But yeah, he's just, he's getting better and better. That's what we said before the season.
Yep.
I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking a rookie to go out there. There's only a few of those out there that go out and play it. There's only one Sauce Gardner. Tariq Woolen played pretty good. Devin Witherspoon had a good rookie year, but there's not a lot of cornerbacks that come in this league and play at Pro Bowl or All Pro level right out the chute. Usually that's a position that takes a little longer, and especially when you're talking the division that we have some really good wide receivers in our division. Obviously Justin Jefferson being number 1, so you got to cut your teeth on some players that can really play. We had the turnovers, but the other thing I liked in this game was the goal line stand right before half. Thought that was awesome.
I just don't. I mean, I think that was really bad call by the Titans to throw the ball 4 times from inside the 1.
Yeah.
But we'll take it. The defense held up. That was awesome because I mean they got the ball back at the half too. So I mean they score the touchdown there, they get the ball back. There's potential. Maybe it doesn't get quite as far out of hand. Maybe they have some sort of second wind or a chance, thoughts of a comeback, and we just shut any thought of that down with that goal line stand.
Yeah, all the momentum. I mean, we were already up. We were up by 3 scores. It was 35-14 at that point. Like you said, if they get the touchdown, they go 21. Then they get the ball at halftime. Say they come down and score. Then all of a sudden, you're within 1 score. And then you have thoughts of like, hey, we can actually do this. Whereas it, get stopped 4 straight plays. You're right. Why not run it down there? It's like smartest guy in the room syndrome. I don't understand why you don't just try to run it down there. At least maybe not on first down because maybe that's what they're expecting. But on second or third down, you don't run it, and you're going to go for it on fourth down because you're already down by 3 scores. You would think at least one of those times you would try to run the ball.
It makes no sense for it not to.
Yeah,
But
I
they worked out better for us.
it did. And then even on the last play, the fourth down, there was a flag, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to get another 4 chances. They're going to
Yeah,
get
right.
but it was a on flag on the Titans, and you know I think they had like 2 or 3 offensive pass interference penalties in this game where, they throw the flag and I'm instantly thinking our secondary's gotten caught for grabbing or doing something, and yeah, they were on the Titans. The Titans had one defensive pass interference, the one where they grabbed Kalif's face mask. I don't know if we've had any other. I don't know if there was another one in that game. I don't think there
I don't
was.
remember. We
But
didn't have a whole lot of penalties in this game on us.
no, we did not. And so that penalty on Kalif was I believe, of the season, the first defensive pass interference that we've had on a team that we played against. We have not had one called on offense.
We were the only one in the league.
Yeah, and which is ridiculous. I mean, and and it was so bad they were trying to make up for it. They called him for 2 penalties on the one play, pass interference and face
Yeah.
masking on that same play. And we were at the stadium, and I think on TV, I don't know if they cut the break or not, but the officials were over there discussing this penalty forever, and we're like, they can't be thinking of taking this away because they showed the replay on the screen like 4 or 5 times, and it's clear that he just grabs his face mask. I was like, they can't be thinking of picking up this flag, can they? But I think they were just discussing the rules about do the Lions get both penalties, or
Yeah.
I've never seen that before in a game where
Right. I didn't know that you would get both added on like that.
I was happy to finally get a pass interference penalty, and then yeah, like I said, they doubled it up with the face masking.
Yeah, huge penalty. Very bad for them.
It's so weird being on this side of it. We're getting these calls, and the flag. I don't have to be as scared about flags going down as much as I have in years past.
Right. Still feels weird.
Yep. All right. Anything else on the defense you want to talk about before we get over the offense?
No, I'm good.
All right. Offense. Trick plays, wide open touchdown passes, had it all, 5 for 5 in the red zone, as we said earlier. What stood out to you about this offense? What was your favorite play?
What stood out, it just seemed like everybody got to eat.
Yeah.
It just tight end day. You have Laporte and Brock Wright both scoring. Amon-Ra scored a touchdown. Gibbs with a rushing touchdown. Montgomery rushing and passing touchdown. I mean, just had a little bit of everything. When I make the highlight video, it's going to be 20 minutes long. It'd be hard to even cut out some of these plays.
I know. Yeah.
It's weird, being a huge offensive outburst, and then you're looking at the yardage and everything like that. It's like, well, it doesn't really even look that impressive. But, short field, we're pouring it on as much as we had to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my grit guarantee did not happen.
Yeah.
He was one of the few people to not find the end zone, Tim Patrick.
I know. I kept waiting for him to get one in there too. You remember my grit guarantee, though. My grit guarantee was Goff was going to throw for under 100 yards and the Lions would score 50-plus points. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Remember when I said that? No.
That's not what you said.
That is not what
You
I
played it really safe and went all the way outside of the game.
I did. We make the rules. This is our podcast, so I thought that was okay to do that. So I have, we'll have to wait till next year. We'll have to wait till next week to see if mine comes true or not.
To see if that came true. Yeah.
Yeah. Goff had 85 yards. I threw for under 100. Had 3 touchdowns though. Could have had 4, but Dave Montgomery stole one from him. He had to throw a pass. We had, Chris Christie. Again, can point his classless finger at Dan Campbell, tell him how classless he is. We're up by so many scores and we're running trick plays.
I mean, that throw by David Montgomery was perfect, though.
It was.
I knew that you didn't have, you weren't going to have as good of an angle, or, you saw it obviously live, but you didn't get to see all the different angles and everything I did.
Yeah.
And that thing, I said tight spiral. He had 2 defenders in front. I mean, he was open, but he had to make a good throw.
Yeah.
Very good. Very impressed by that throw on Montgomery.
Yeah. So this morning for YouTube, I made a video, the play breakdown, and that's one of them, the touchdown pass. I made that one of my breakdowns, and the Titans actually defended that play fairly well. There was two guys that went out and caught on Laporta. Laporta was just too fast and got behind the defense. But Dave Montgomery, sometimes with those running back passes, they just kind of lob it up there because there's so much, they've tricked the defense so much that there's no worry. But Dave Montgomery had to put a little bit on it, and it had to be fairly accurate because there was two defenders that went and followed Laporta to the back of the end zone. But he fired it right in there, and he used to play quarterback. I think they said in high school. It showed he had. That's actually a tighter spiral than some of the throws that Goff throws.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he said that in the tunnel after the game. They had him, watch the clip on the phone like they usually do. He said, I used to play quarterback in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah,
that was awesome.
It was awesome. So he had him totally full. But yeah, check out the YouTube channel if you want to see the play breakdown, or Talking Great YouTube channel. I break down that. I break down, we'll talk about Kalif's wide open touchdown here shortly. And then also the play I want to talk about next is Gibbs' 70-yarder. Wow. Man, that, Sonic is the right name for him right there.
Electric. Finds a seam, takes off, gone. You're not catching him.
No one touched him. 70 yards, and no one even got within a yard of him. It was insane. When I break that play down, it is the offensive line has that blocked perfectly. Jeffrey Simmons is right there. They double him initially. Frank Ragnow has Simmons. Glasgow basically chips him and then peels off and goes to the second level and just basically walls it off. They're playing wide 9, and so the end goes around the outside and creates, a big lane because Taylor Decker walls him off. And then who he blew past, the safety he blew past, right, to get the touchdown.
You told me this earlier.
Yeah, it's Quandre Diggs. I don't know if he thought he could cut him off like right at the end of the line, but Gibbs just outruns him and just goes crazy. And then someone quickly posted on Twitter the Sonic videos. Those videos are awesome.
Yes, collecting the coins.
They just, I mean, people have some skills to be able to just edit those videos that quick and put that up. But it's awesome. Gibbs, second fastest run speed in a game so far this year. He's like above 22 miles per hour.
That's fast.
Crazy. Yeah, that is faster than I go down my road in my car in my neighborhood. It's insane. Yeah, crazy. He ended up with 127 yards, 11 carries for 127 yards. He only played 19 snaps the whole game. 19 snaps.
Wow.
Yeah. So
he made the most of when he was out there.
He did. And then
to start the game, like just our first drive, we come out 3 and out. They're all 3 passing plays. Very first play was a sack on Goff. Second drive, we start with that shorter field, and then David Montgomery, a couple rushes, and then he's in the end zone. So then they get the third drive. We get a first down with Jameer Gibbs right away, and then 3 more passes, 2 more sacks on Goff. The first couple of drives were very frustrating. It's like, I don't know what we're waiting for, what we're trying to have develop. I texted you, I was like, we need to stick to the run. The run is working. Let's run the ball. And then, very next drive, first play, hand it off to Gibbs, and he's gone.
It was electric in the crowd during some of those plays. I mean, defensively, it was the quietest I'd heard the crowd, especially the second half. We had really nothing to cheer for. We were up by so much that we didn't really need to do anything. The Hutch thing was probably the loudest the crowd got the whole game, I think, outside of like spurts on a big play like the punt return or whatever. But, usually defense, it's at least my first 2 games that I went, the Bucs game and the Rams game, it's like super loud in there because we're trying to affect that offense. But this game, even when I got there, you would ask me what I felt the crowd energy, and I thought the crowd energy was just low in general, just because I think a lot of fans had looked past this game and they weren't really, wasn't that exciting to them. I was super excited to be there. I love watching them win. Morgan Cannon had texted me during, asked me if I was at the game, and I said, yep, I'm ready for a beatdown. But I didn't know it was going to be this kind of beatdown, a 52-14 beatdown.
It was a great beatdown. Another one, two this year.
I want to talk about Kalif on that play design that they had him run. If I remember right, I think the Chiefs run this in a Super Bowl, this exact play where they run motion and then they stick to the ground and they just run back to the other side of the field. And if you listen to my play breakdown on this, it's pretty apparent that the defense did a switch. The cornerback that was guarding Kalif passed him off to another cornerback, and then the cornerback at the same time that Kalif's running back, they do a play action pass to Gibbs, and that cornerback's eyes are all on Gibbs and doesn't see Kalif turn around, go the other way. And then when his eyes change and he looks back at where Kalif is, he's a good like 15 yards away from Kalif, and he's so fast that there was no one on that side of the field. It was such a great play design. Ben, sometimes I wonder, I'm like, why are we wasting some of these plays in a game like this? But I think some of these plays they have designed just for they know what these defenders are going to do in this game.
Yeah, that was a great play. It is, really similar to what the Chiefs did in the Super Bowl. If they're in man defense, they pass off, and then, the other corner is almost running ahead, trying to catch him to the other side of the line. Mm-hmm. And, surprise, he cuts back the other way, and there's no recovering at that point.
Yep. And also for me, this play sets up future. Like they could do an end around or they could do so many different, or they could even do a reverse off that, have Kalif come in thinking that he's going to do the turnaround and then catch him off guard. Ben Johnson's probably thinking of plays that he's setting up for 3 or 4 weeks down the road. He's such a dynamic play caller. It just keeps showing up. And the fact that he was able to call 3 plays, Amon-Ra was wide open on his touchdown too. Wide open.
Yes, right.
All 3 of the touchdown passes that Goff threw, everybody was wide open. And Brock was wide open on his touchdown catch too. They totally fooled the defense. That just tells me that, Ben Johnson knows exactly what they're going to run. Jared Goff knows, hey, this is the defense that we're looking for. Because if he doesn't get that defense, he checks out of it, and then they can run it. And you got Montgomery or Gibbs back there, and you know that's going to be successful too. So it's embarrassment of riches on offense for us.
Yeah, they asked him after the Cowboys game about using up the trick plays. I believe he said the well's deep. Mm-hmm. Like he's not worried about using the trick plays. We got plenty of them, and they just keep coming.
Right. So,
and you're right. They're probably going to use these. Teams are going to be studying things like this, and then you switch it up slightly. You have Kalif use the same motion, then maybe you do hand it off. Or maybe, you do the fake, then you fake it to Kalif, and then there's a tight end or somebody leaking out coming the other way, and now you've overcommitted because you think the play is going that way. There's just so many things you could do.
Or they could just say, hand it off to Gibbs. As a play-action pass. Right. They just clear out that lane. There was a pretty wide lane, and they set it up so that the guard and the center split apart, create a lane that it looks like they're going to rush up, but those cornerbacks had filled that lane. I think it's just so that they changed your eye level, and then they just got lost, and Kalif just ran out the other way. Because once Kalif puts his foot in the dirt, the defender is looking. You could see on the tape because on the end zone view, he's looking directly at the ball because Jared Goff has the ball really out wide, and you could see he's staring right at it, and Kalif has got his foot in the dirt, ready to go the other way. And, on a zone, that play doesn't work because there's someone on that side of the field. It may work, but not as easy. He won't be as wide open. But on man defense like that, there was just no one over there. Is really impressive. I do have a question for you, Jacob. The Lions have 5 players that have completed a pass this year. Do you know the 5 players?
Okay, well, Goff, Montgomery, Amon-Ra, then Jack Fox had that fake punt.
Yeah.
And there's a 5th one? Hendon Hooker?
Well, yeah, Hendon Hooker. You're right. Yeah, so, yeah, I asked Preston, and he forgot about the Jack Fox. I was wondering if I'd catch you on the Jack Fox.
Yeah. You can't forget that.
Yeah, so 5 players have thrown passes. I looked at PFF. Jared Goff is the 4th rated passer on our team. And he's still got an impressive above 100 passer rating. And Hendon Hooker's way down on the list. Just he's playing at the end of the game. We're mostly rushing it. Teams know what's coming up. But Isaiah Williams got his first catch in this game. So
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome. They had set up on a screen. They wanted to get him his first catch, and he deserves it. I mean, he's probably practicing really hard, hasn't had any opportunities in a game. Finally was brought up active, and yeah, he got his first NFL catch. So that was really cool to see. I thought another interesting thing was Allen Robinson was in for 21 snaps in this game.
He had a target too. He almost got a catch.
He did. With Jamo out, and Allen Robinson might even got more snaps because, we obviously pulled our starters midway through the third quarter or towards the end of the third quarter. So he might have had even more snaps had we, number one, had more offensive snaps. Number two, needed to have starters in there. So we kind of get the idea that next week might be the same thing against the Packers, that we're going to see more Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a veteran presence out there. He's a hard-working player. Dan Campbell speaks very highly of him in the press conferences. So that's, it's good that he got some snaps on there, and for the hometown guy, right?
Absolutely. Would have been cool for him to get his catch right there, but
yeah, it would have.
It's coming.
It is. Another player that was brought up. This is the second week in a row. Shane Zylstra brought up, played 14 snaps in this game. Parker Hesse has been inactive. I know this week, but I think the past 2 weeks he's been inactive. Sounds like Shane Zylstra may be passing Parker Hesse on the depth chart. Because if we bring him up one more time, then we got to either put him on the active roster or subject him to waiver wire.
Oh, okay.
So I'm wondering if there's going to be a roster change pretty soon, that we're going to try, basically flip flop Zylstra and Hesse.
Well, I mean, that was a toss up even right for final cutdowns. Weren't sure who was going to make the team. So It just seems like that battle's just continuing on.
Yep. And, we'll see. I mean, Shane Zylstra offers more in the passing game than Parker Hesse. So, I mean, let's just give Ben Johnson another weapon. He doesn't have enough. Let's just give him another one so we can have 3 tight ends.
Yeah, right.
Out there.
We got to get more guys out here.
Right. It was National Tight Ends Day, which was great because Brock Wright and Laporta both got a touchdown. But Laporta, for as limited passing yards as there were in this game, he had 6 targets, 6 receptions, and 48 yards. He had 2 screens in this game. Again, I don't know how he gets hidden in those screen games, but they turn out pretty successful most of the time.
Yeah, it seems like the injury might finally be behind him, so maybe they're going to start letting loose a little bit more. Maybe we're going to see Laporta involved back like he was last year.
I hope so, but we got lots of season left, and there's going to be plenty of chance for him to get his yards. I know Amon-Ra had a touchdown, but I think he only had like 10 yards in this game. The field was short. We didn't have a lot of passing yards. So we've had a few games where, especially a game where Jamo out, I was expecting Amon-Ra to have even more receiving yards, but that, we obviously had a short
This wasn't
field,
necessary.
No, it wasn't. I'm just glad that Amon-Ra is the type of player that it doesn't seem to bother him that he didn't show up on the stat sheet.
Right. No, if we're winning 52-14, I don't think he's got too much of an issue.
No. As many points as we scored in this game, I thought offensively, we had 3 and out to start the game. We weren't playing at our best offensively, which I know is like, it sounds stupid to say when we score 52 points, but the defense set them up so well, and they did what they needed to do. We 5 for 5 in the red zone. That's that and the 4 turnovers. That's all she wrote for the game, along with our special teams. So it's crazy to think that we're still need to hit our stride. I think part of it is that we couldn't get in an offensive groove because we were starting on the short field, so we didn't really have an opportunity to see a long drive.
Yeah, we weren't able to get the ball rolling and have that sustained drive just because obviously you're starting at the 20, 30-yard line.
Yeah. The other team's 20 or 30-yard line. And then, and then the one touchdown that Gibbs had was 70 yards. So, and I really thought he was going to take the first run he had on the opposite side of the field. I thought he was going to house that thing too. He got like 12 yards on that one. I thought he's gonna.
Yeah.
It looked like he was going to take it, and then when he took that 70-yarder, oh god! From my view, I was behind it, and you could see the lane open up, but you don't know if he's going to outrun the safety or not. But on the replay, it wasn't even close. He outran Quandre Diggs by a long shot.
Right.
So, all right. Anything else you want to talk on the offense?
No, I'm good.
All right. So we kind of already went over our great guarantee. Don't know on mine yet. Mine's in limbo with the trade. I don't. Did you see Dan Campbell? You probably didn't see Dan Campbell's press conference today.
Oh yeah, when he wouldn't really say.
Yeah. Someone ask him, and he's like, "Yeah, maybe." Like I think he was just messing with the reporter. I mean, nothing's been announced yet. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow, they'll announce something. There was a trade today. Uche from the Patriots went to the Chiefs for 2026 sixth rounder. So essentially a free pick at this point. The Chiefs are been active on the trade market.
I mean, they know what it takes to win championships, and they consistently doing it. So
yeah. I fully expect the Lions to make a trade. I really, I mean, it may not be for one of the big boys, but I expect them to try to improve this roster. We are the number one team in the NFC. This upcoming game this week is going to be huge, though. It is for first place again. If we lose to the Packers, they're going to own the tiebreaker on it. We'll have the same record. Of course, we'll get an opportunity to beat them at home, but for the time being, they would be first in NFC North. So, we just had one the previous week with the Vikings for first place. Now we got to go to Lambeau and take it to the Packers.
Gonna be another tough game.
It will be,
regardless of whether Jordan Love plays.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll get into this on our Pride preview. As are we happy that Jordan Love's not playing? With our interview guests that we have lined up, I'm excited about it. Hopefully, I find the right way to ask about the Jordan Love thing, because I don't want to be disrespectful with my questioning, but part of me just wonders, are they having some buyer's remorse? Is there any little bit of buyer's remorse right now with the way that Jordan Love has played? I'm not saying he's played terrible, but they committed a lot of money to them.
Right. You're being paid top quarterback.
So, yep. So
we'll see.
This was a weird win, and when we had a lot of individual plays to talk about. A lot of times we have, we're talking about in these things strategy or play calls or anything. None of that this game. It was all just pretty much cut and dry. But we got to talk. I was excited to talk about these awesome plays that happened, and it's gonna. At some point, we already did this, picking our favorite plays. You and I did a YouTube thing where we picked our 5 favorite offensive plays. At the end of the year, it is going to be really, really tough to nail all these.
How do we just pick 10?
It's going to be impossible. So it's going to be fun.
Right.
But all right, man. Well, I'm hoping you feel better. I'm hoping this thing blows over soon for you. Dealing with the kidney stone sucks, and I'm sorry you're having to deal with that. But you're a trooper for getting on here this late, and hopefully you get some rest. Remember, if you want, respond to page, go to Reddit, go to Twitter. Just give us some feedback. We just want to know how we're doing and how we can improve and what you like, so we can keep on doing it. For Jacob, I'm Jason. Let's go Lions.